प्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक् प्राणश्चक्षु श्रोत्रमथो बलमेन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदम् माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्तु अनिराकरणं मेस्तु तदात्मनि निरते य उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ May all my limbs attain strength. May the body, the mind, all the sensory and motor organs and the life force become powerful, efficient. All is verily the one without second, ever blissful, ever perfect, unchanging, all-pervading existence, the Brahman. Let me never deny the Brahman. May the Brahman never reject me either. I am aware that realization of Brahman requires acquisition of blessed spiritual virtues. These virtues are spoken of by the scriptures. May all these virtues be with me, for I am desirous of realizing Brahman. Om peace, peace, peace. Let us try to feel the Brahman, the one existence that pervades all the apparent distinctions. Let us feel all of us are like the ice cubes in a big heap. I am an ice cube. I am identified with my shape and size, and I see all other ice cubes surrounding. I think we all are distinct, different. I form relationships with ice cubes. Some become as it were my parents. Some like my siblings. Some are friends. Somebody is a spouse. Somebody is a child. Many others I have not much relation with them, except a few I know are my enemies. Some are my competitors. But I gradually see, like the warm weather that we have today, in that the ice cubes, they are melting. I see my shape is changing. My size is becoming smaller and smaller. So also that of all other ice cubes. And I start seeing this truth that all of us are really one. Even before they melted, it was really all one, appearing different. In reality, even before melting, they were one. All shapes around, the whole diversity in the universe. There are tiny, tiny fundamental particles like electrons, and there are the huge galaxies. All are actually one. They are pervaded with the same one substance. As this knowledge sinks in my consciousness, it removes all desires, for I am actually everything. The mind is filled with unspeakable infinite bliss and peace. Om. Peace, peace, peace. So, dear friends, we are beginning 167th class of this great spiritual uh, book, a big volume called Srimad Bhagavatam. It is full of illuminating stories, and these stories, they are actually uh, you can say personifications of great philosophical truths. The truths, they get molded into these great persons that we are, the stories of whom we study, and then become concretely present in these things. These truths become alive, concrete before us through these. So let us begin with the uh, opening chant. Is not working. Now it started, yeah. So recite this opening chant as loudly as you can, because this is 167th class. Many of you have been present in all the 167 classes. Like I think our Charlie and Abhijit, they attended all of them. So chant loudly. Mm. जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकम् सत्यं परं धीमहि that from whom creation, sustenance and dissolution of the universe take place, who is both the instrumental and material cause of it, who is omniscient, is the only one having self-mastery, being the one independent entity, who illumined the mind of Brahma with the Vedic revelation, whose wisdom is the wonder of even the greatest sages, in whom the world of the three gunas subsists, just as the combination of materials like fire, water, and earth subsist in their causes without changing their elemental nature, in whose consciousness there is nothing false. On that truth supreme we meditate. So that is always the purpose throughout this book. And not only this particular text, but all texts in Vedanta or even in other religions, if you look carefully, are they meditations on the supreme truth? Because truth is identical with God. Whether some people may believe in God or may not believe in God, but almost all accept the value of truth in life. So there is this truth that one has to meditate, like these sages. they meditate on the truth. So, this is the whole idea that think of the supreme truth that surpasses all the relative truths. Relative truths are contextually true. Like somebody in some particular context would look like uh, a good person, but that is not the supreme truth. For somebody else, uh, in other situation, it will not look that good. Many, almost all truths come to us through senses. And then, so long as these senses have this sway, those are truth. Not beyond that. Like this simple thing that it is, you may say, all of you, that I have put on uh, uh, this ochre color clothes. But that is because your eyes are discerning the colors. And suppose somebody who has different type of visual sense, then they will see different colors. It is not that the color is red. Actually, uh, once, if you, those who study optics uh, or the physics of light in general, they can certify that when you see an object as say red, then uh, it is all but red. All but red is seen as red. Because the all other colors are absorbed there, only red gets emitted and hits our retina. So we call it red. So actually what it means is it is anything else except red. So that is how our perceptions are. That which is not real, that is seen as real. Because these are all contextual. In a different context, the meaning would completely alter. So, supreme truth means that is the background on which all these relative truths appear. And this supreme truth is the goal of all. We are all striving to experience this truth, and therefore that is the prime object to meditate upon, this truth supreme, which transcends all the relativity and the context. It is true in all circumstances. So, irrespective of the context, they will be true. So, this is on that the sages meditate, and we also must meditate on that. And as I mentioned in the beginning, these truths get revealed through the stories in this book. Stories generate interest. We all like to hear stories, and so that generates interest. And so we pay attention to what is being told. Otherwise, it is a philosophical discussion, then even intelligent and scholarly people, say like our Bishwajit, will not like to hear much. But stories, yes, yes, very interesting. So, therefore, this story that we have been seeing for last some classes is that of the great sage Prahlada. This Prahlada, uh, now his father, who was a very powerful demon and has conquered all the three worlds and put under a very uh, tyrannical rule. There was a punishment if somebody thinks of God. Imagine. And so, but as the matters stood, certain things you don't have control over, even if you are a demon. The very son of this demon was a born devotee of God. You cannot really determine how the progeny will respond, how your own children, they may be physically like you, but their mentalities would be so different. And I have seen, and I am sure you also must have seen, many twins. The twins, sometimes they look, or usually they look very identical with each other in appearance. People get deceived who is who. But their mental tendencies are so diversely different, that they are very diverse tendencies. Their likings are different, their leanings toward different things are there. So, although physically they look alike, exactly, physically speaking, this child Prahlada was from the demon community, was son of this most powerful amongst the demons, Hiranyakashipu. And now we saw that this Hiranyakashipu ultimately was killed by the form of God. God incarnates to solve the problems here. So, due to certain reasons that we had discussed multiple times, it is the God was left with no alternative, as it were, but to assume this form of half man, half lion, to kill this uh, terrible and hugely powerful demon who had so many boons. So, therefore, this demon was then as killed by this lord in the form of a man lion, Narasimha. Then Prahlada went to him. All others were terror struck. They were not, they were so scared of approaching this God in this form. You can imagine, we like the God only in the pleasant form. That a terrible form of God we don't like. In many places, therefore, the God is described as the creator of this world and the providence that supports it, and yeah, all that. That is a matter that the devotees like to think about. But that very God destroys also. Without destroying, there is no creation. The appearance has to be destroyed. All these pretty ice cubes have to melt, you see. So, all these forms, big and small, they spring up from that reality and stay in that. And even after destruction, the reality remains. Only the appearances, they are gone. So, therefore, uh, those who want to stick to the appearances, they abhor this terrible form of God. But the devotees, true devotees, they love this form, like the form of Mother Kali, that form that springs up and does uh, dances, destroying all the appearances, dancing to destroy the ignorance. Do you see dancing to destroy the ignorance? And as ignorance is destroyed, all that comes out from ignorance, that also gets destroyed. Just like when you wake up from the dream, the whole dream world is destroyed. It was never there, only in your imagination. So it was only in imagination. So this whole universe is just gone, like the world in the dream. So uh, this is what this uh, Prahlada had, this clear understanding. And so he approached, and we saw many uh, these beautiful points in the prayer that Prahlada is chanting to pacify in a way, or to just praise the appearance of God in this terrible looking form. And then he says, there we saw a bit of this last time. He prays he that I do not desire even salvation if it is for myself. If it is for myself alone, then I don't want it. I want the salvation for everyone. Then only I will accept it. Now, this is a very tricky point in Vedanta. Our Gordon may think that I will meditate for long hours, and then I will become liberated from this world, all its bondages. So I was earlier a bound Gordon, then I will become a free Gordon. And that is not the liberation. I am so and so, that itself is bondage. We are caught in the bondage that I am so and so. That goes away when I goes away. And then that is liberation. It is the word may for many people initially appears like I am bound. A person is sentenced to prison and then is bound, is in the prison. So after serving the prison term, gets liberated and walks out free. So we get this idea that now I am bound. And after doing lot of meditation, spiritual practice and so forth, I will walk out liberated. No, friends, that is not the idea of liberation. This illusion called ego, I am so and so, this vanishes. So, uh, when Prahlada is saying this, he understands this, that salvation for me, I don't care, let others go to dogs. What do I have to worry about? No. You start feeling the compassion of everyone, compassion for everyone. And this very prayer shows that he is already liberated. It is only such people who can see the same eye in all. They can say such prayer. They feel compassion for everyone. Physically, some of them might have hurt this, like Jesus was being crucified by a few of them, Uh, but Jesus did not hold any uh, that evil ideas about them. They are out of ignorance, they are doing it. Lord, forgive them because it is out of ignorance. So they pray for them as well, as because there is no fear of bondage to them, that they are already seeing the God, and thus seeing the God brings them this liberation. Only those who are liberated, they can do such prayers. Many ask this question about Vivekananda, that Vivekananda says in his writings as well as in his conversations that I want to keep on working for the salvation of others. So, was he then not a liberated or a person of uh, ultimate knowledge? He was. And that is the reason that he could pray. And the freedom is that you start seeing the same eye in everything. Like an ice cube starts seeing the same substance in all ice cubes. Not that I am different from others, difference is only in appearance. And so you actually see that it is all one without second reality that is appearing in these forms. So therefore there is no fear of bondage there. So that is what is expressed in Prahlada's prayers. So it is, he says, I find no other shelter than thee for these creatures caught in the travels of samsara. So if thou art pleased to save me from this samsara, I am willing to accept it only on condition that all my fellow sufferers are saved. This is the sign of a really illumined person. That otherwise, no, let others, I don't care. Then you are bound by that ego, I am so and so. So, therefore, you find this idea coming up in scriptures again and again. So, uh, then he says, the pleasures of this physical life embroiled in, say, sex or other so called joys of life. What is that? He says, uh, they are very petty and they are not really even worth calling joys. It is actually, Nachiketa says, what are these pleasures? Sarvendriyanam jarayanti tejah. Your own sense organs and motor organs, they are tortured and you call it pleasure. And they lose their vitality by that, and you call that happiness. Where is the happiness in that? It is not really happiness. So we labor under the idea that, okay, if I get this, I will be so happy. No, it never has happened. If now you are all uh, grown up enough, none of you is a 2-year-old child. So you can easily see this, reflecting on your past lives, that what you thought would bring you immense pleasure, no, did not. Then you give a more and more hard try at it. Instead of realizing that there is no pleasure in it, you think you probably made a mistake. This time you will try harder. You will hurt yourself harder, that's all. So it is important to note this. Prahlada says that it is uh, a wise person here or there may overcome these drags, as a man sometimes escapes temptation of the itch to scratch oneself. It's a very nice analogy. I had heard this before, that what is the desire to have pleasure from some object or from some person. What is it? It is like itching. You get an itching sensation. And then, you, it is, if you scratch, what happens? There is already a problem there. And now you scratch, your nails create more scratches, and you feel, it feels so nice. When you scratch, that it feels so nice. You can see, that becomes actually an addiction for many. Some, for example, have this is given. This example is told by, I don't remember, Swami Shivananda or Swami Brahmananda, that if somebody has an eczema, now that eczema itching starts, and then you scratch it, you feel good. Then you again keep on scratching. I have seen the whole time the people keep on just scratching. What relief does it bring? And no, it creates more of those scratch marks there. It becomes worse. So it is not that healing doesn't happen through scratching. Just look at this fact. Does the healing happen by scratching that? It doesn't. So one has to restrain. I know many little children, they would keep on scratching, little babies, and then so their these uh, hands were kept tied in some woolly thing, so that they won't create further wounds there, because it feels, let me scratch. Now they don't have that strength to avoid this temptation. Temptations are terrible. It is like that saying goes, that I can resist everything except temptations. So it is that temptations are very difficult to resist. It is only by looking at the stupidity of it, only by contemplating on what further hurt I will be put into, that it is possible to resist that. So, yeah, like many, that they have diabetes and should not even look at sweets. Now it is, and the sign of that one kind of diabetes is that, and that makes you eat more sugar. You are more and more addicted to sugar. And so stopping becomes so difficult. It is, uh, you keep on seeking more and more of sugars. So it is like that, never satiation. There are the health problems compound, because sugar is not good for you. You should not be taking it. I know, but this is, let me eat this one last piece of cake, and that ice cream, and then I will stop. From tomorrow I will stop. And tomorrow is the name of the day that never comes. Hmm. Therefore, you have to do it now. From tomorrow would come. But this is the pitiable condition of we people caught in these attractions. And therefore, Prahlada says that, therefore, O Lord, for those who have no mastery of the senses, uh, they may practice all other things, but they won't get any better by that unless they learn to master the senses. Means the senses, they may get pulled towards the so called objects of enjoyment, but know that by getting there you will feel, you will suffer more. So restraint. So without restraint, O Lord, without mastery over the senses, all the so called spiritual practices like sitting in a meditation posture, there is no meditation happening. It is only sitting in a meditation posture that is happening. The two things are very different. Sitting like you see in the figure, uh, and then the mind is just as it is shown whirling all around in the sense objects. Oh, after 1 hour of meditation, then uh, I will go here, there. It is so. All that is not really a meditation. Fastings, something that by fastings on certain days or many days, that will make them, they devoted to God. That doesn't happen. You get addicted to fasting. Like one can get addicted to feasting, one can also get addicted to fasting. And then, yeah, I fast on this day, I fast on that day, I fast on that day. Now, what is the use if you do not, uh, by all these means, if you do not develop the control of the senses? All these things, meditation, scriptural studies, fastings, uh, torturing the body, all that is okay if they are the means to develop the control over senses. Otherwise, they are futile. Only they increase the ego. Hey, I am spiritual aspirant. Do you know? I sit for meditation 4 hours every morning. Oh, well, maybe you are sitting for 4 hours in the morning. Does it happen? Do you do the meditation? Do you think of God? Hold on to God and stop running after the sense pleasures. Then there is some meaning to all this. Otherwise, no meaning at all. It is, yeah, one fellow had a stomach upset and then went to doctor and asked advice. What should I do, doctor? It is okay. The doctor told that, well, diet, you control it. It is. So he, doctors told, only eat a little milk and barley. That's it. Milk and barley. And then, now he misunderstood that instruction. And after 3 days came to doctor again. No, the condition is worse. Why? I told you just eat that milk and barley. Yes, yes. Uh, every morning, afternoon, and evening, after breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I was taking barley and milk. So now that kind of meditation, every morning, afternoon, evening, you do meditation, and in between run after sense pleasures. Oh, then that is of not much use. None of the practices are of any use if you do not try to bring the senses under control. And if we want them to be our instruments, then we should stop them from hurting us. They must come under our control. So, otherwise, it becomes a mere show because there are the sense desires. And so, one of the common desire is that for recognition. I should get recognition. So you meditate and say, yes, I meditate a lot. And thus people start saying, wow, this person meditates for 6 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, and without eating anything. As if that is any spiritual achievement. It is not a spiritual achievement. Torturing the body is not a means to become spiritual, but they can be of help if by that you are trying to bring the senses under control. Then it is possible. So it is, then it continues, the Vedas reveal the divine, the Vedas reveal God under two conceptions like the seed and the tree. And now here we are entering a bit into some philosophy. Don't be scared, just be more attentive, that's all. That the seed becomes the tree, and from the tree the seeds come. So, and in the process that how this world is created, we speak of God. And God created the world. Mm. Then what happened to that God? Like the seed, from that the tree came up. And then now that tree is the manifestation of the power in the seed. So that God now has manifested. This example, this analogy has one lacuna, like every analogy will have some, because it is after all an analogy, and God is not analogous to anything. Therefore, there cannot be a perfect analogy for this divine manifestation. So this has the problem that the seed is destroyed, changed into the tree. So there is a process, but God manifests as this universe without any change. It is the seed has all the potential of the tree, and then it manifests. Imagine that the seed doesn't get destroyed in the process. Now, what when you see the huge tree, what is it? It is the seed that is manifestation. And then it gets, that seed as it were is permeated in this world. It is, everything is divine. Through that divine act of creation, what has happened? Well, this God is everywhere. It is in every single thing, that is the pervasive presence of the divine, one without second principle. That is the important point to remember, that that everything was potentially there in this seed. Now it comes out, manifests, becomes many, infinitely many, and yet it is all contained in maybe a very tiny, tiny seed. So from that teeny weeny seed, this whole universe springs up, and it is all God, manifest God, unmanifest. When and then the tree eventually dies, the seeds can again bring that tree. So it is. So we have, like in this our garden, there are annual plants and some perennial plants. Perennial plants, you don't have to keep on planting the seed every now and then. Some are there, they last for about 7 8 years, and then you have to take them out, plant other ones. Then there are those who have only annual appearance, means like the you see the tulips, for example. Now you see them for some time, and then the flowers appear, last for a few days, and then as you can see the plants also for some time, as the winter comes, everything is gone. All the or the marigolds, uh, that slowly they will start coming up, then you will see the bloom of marigold. Then they come November, and then they start, well, their process of dying. Everything is gone, but the seeds are left behind. Even if you don't uh, do the planting, sometimes those old seeds, they come up. So that is how this process, this creation starts. They, those who are studying this physics, astrophysics, or some such thing, they say that there was a big bang from which everything came up. All these things started expanding. And and it is interesting, like in Vedanta, you can't say when did it begin. So when did Big Bang happen? That question cannot be asked, because the time idea began with Big Bang. So there is, when did Big Bang happen? You may approximate it. There these mathematical techniques of approximation, that okay, so many billion years or trillion years ago, or that there was this uh, big bang. But that is an approximation that you can get to. It is, and then the idea, as the things expand, then you have the time and space. So you now, within time and space, now you have to work. So in this seed, there is no space as such to for the so many different branches and leaves, but the seed contains the potential for all of that. And so this creation, the God manifests as this universe, and look at the variety. This tree idea you find in Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita. that the whole world is like a tree coming from one root. All this variety is one in the root. In the root, that everything has become, all the flowers and fruits, they are springing from the one single root. So that is how all this variety that we see, let us feel that it is all coming from one root. It is to impress this analogy has been given, and then you keep on calculating, doing research about the variety which keeps on changing all the time. Therefore, Shankaracharya, in one of those commentaries about how this universe is, how varied it is, he says, Manasapi achintya. Even by mind you cannot fathom how vast it is, how much variety it has. It is all are accustomed to one place. Go to other place, the whole world as it were changes for you. Even right just on this earth, you go to this equator, there is one kind of weather, one kind of vegetation. The temperatures are, climatically everything is very different. And go towards the poles, like go to even Alaska. Now, say during this time there is no night. You can't sleep there because you are accustomed to sleep only when it is night and it should be dark. So, for your convenience, what is made then? Then it is the very thick curtains on the windows. So you create an illusion that it is dark and then try to sleep. It is all so much light that the crops grow so fast. Lot of water, lot of sunlight, all 19 hours, 20 hours of sunlight. And so what takes about 3 months for the plants to grow. You can plant, say, tomato plant today, and you can pluck the tomatoes after 2 weeks. Can you imagine? But that is how the climates there are. So, so much variety here, and so many different types of creatures. They go to, say, other planet, the gravitation will be different. Uh, you find it so difficult to handle. I found it so difficult at one NASA place. Then there are the gravity things. Mm. So there is zero gravity, there is three gravity. So zero gravity had long line, so I didn't have time, but I could go into triple gravity 3 times. And then we were told if those who have weak hearts and all, they should not, because they everything becomes so difficult. Now I have, no problem in lifting this finger, hand. Uh, there I could not, even after making a very strong effort mentally, could not lift my finger, because the gravity is 3 times. So it is, try to jump, you will not be able to jump. Even if you are an Olympic high jump winner, you will see that your feet are just, as it were, very heavy iron chains are put on that. So what I mean is, see, a huge variety. No two things are alike, and yet there is the one without second, divine. So, in the root, in the seed, it is all one, and as expression, it is infinitely varied. So, Prahlada says that this is the effect, this is the tree, this is the effect. And then, as that part we had discussed earlier, that Narsimha says, the Lord. Now he is very happy, as in this picture you can see the artist has shown very nice face of this lion man God. And then he says that ask for any boon. Now this is a temptation. Mm, that when you have realized God, no want remains. So Prahlada says, please don't tempt me, O Lord. Mm. There is a very nice incident in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna says that Narada asks Lord Rama uh, that it is that, oh, you are the supreme reality and all that. Rama said, ask whatever boon you want to ask. So he asked that, may your world bewitching nations or Maya, may it not affect me. I want to remain free from that. And then uh, Rama said, Amen. Tathastu. Very good. Anything else? Now that is a proof that the first boon has been granted. That now nothing will be asked for. If something is asked for, that means that Maya has the wheel of Maya is still there. That is why you think I want this also. So Narada replies, no, nothing more is wanted. So anyway, next we shall see still this Prahlada is given not exactly boon, but a responsibility that now you have to run this kingdom and so forth. And that we shall try to see in our next class. Uh, that will be the end of this story of Prahlada and how all this story began. So we will revert to that in our next Friday class. Let us conclude with the closing prayer. निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः. O devotees, quaff, quaff to intoxication this nectar of the fruit of the tree of Vedas, flowing from the mouth of the great sage Shuka and mixed with the ambrosia from his words. Any questions? You have a question? Okay.
People who did things out of ignorance, but there's a quote that Sri Ramakrishna accepts everyone except hypocrites and who there's a quote that Sri Ramakrishna accepts everyone except hypocrites and people who are self-deluded. So why is there the difference?
Well, that is everybody who is, when it comes to self-deluded, that means ignorance. I don't get your question clearly. What is the problem?
Why would Jesus accept them but Thakur does not?
Everybody, Thakur accepted, everybody. Hmm. It is everybody, but according to the see, acceptance does not mean like all are accepted at the school. But those who are little, they are okay. You have to go to nursery. Oh, you will be studying in the 12th grade, and like that, they are all accepted, but they will be given treatment according to their needs. Yeah, exactly. Any other question? There doesn't appear to be any question. Why, Suchu, you don't have any question? No, she doesn't have. Okay. Any question upstairs? No questions. So very good. So you will get early release today. So uh, this Sunday, after our Sunday lecture, there is a music concert of a very accomplished, well-known singer, uh, Mitali Bhaumik. So, you are welcome to join that concert after the Sunday lecture. So, let us do the last closing song. मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल केशव माधव हरि हरि बोल मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल केशव माधव हरि हरि बोल हरि हरि बोल हरि हरि बोल कृष्ण कृष्ण बोल कृष्ण कृष्ण बोल कृष्ण कृष्ण बोल कृष्ण कृष्ण बोल मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल केशव माधव हरि हरि बोल केशव माधव हरि हरि बोल